Families. I hope that you guys are all doing well. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Tonight we have a special presentation because we actually have three speakers instead of just one. And so tonight's going to be a little bit informational for mainly our high school students and even some of our middle school students just to start thinking into the future. And we're going to start off with our first speaker, who is Jolie Ballantyne. She is the Associate Director of Admissions for Hillsdale College in Michigan. I've had the opportunity to go out and visit Hillsdale. It is an amazing campus, school. Honestly, if I could run it back years and Dakota College, I would definitely choose Hillsdale. And I've had the privilege of being able to get to know Jolie over the last couple of years. And so, really grateful for her to be on tonight to share a little bit more about Hillsdale's admissions process and as well as how um, the different programs that they have for those who are in high school to be able to experience Hillsdale before they graduate and all of those things. So, Jolie, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Kat. And it's great to be with all of you families. It's so wonderful to partner with such wonderful organizations like Parents Challenge. I am here to talk to you, like Kat said, about Hillsdale College, but also about the college admissions process in general. So while, of course, I only work for one institution, the information I'm going to give you is also great for most colleges that you're going to apply to. And so I'm happy to take questions either in the chat or after I finish. And so just by all means, feel free to take notes and to send me any questions my way. So first of all, who am I? I'm Jolie. I'm the Associate Director of Admissions for Hillsdale College, and I also run the Frederick Douglass Scholarship Program. And the Frederick Douglass Scholarship Program partners with groups like Parents Challenge to offer a full ride scholarship to students within their organizations who are admitted to Hillsdale. That's about a $200,000 value over the course of 4 years. So, and that is, of course, good at Hillsdale only, but it's a wonderful opportunity that if you are admitted, I would encourage you to take advantage of. So who are we at Hillsdale? So we are a small, independent, classical liberal arts Christian college. And I'll really quickly talk about what each of those things mean. Small, we're about 1,500 to 1,600 students, which means we have the opportunity, we have the time, we have the ability to give every single student individualized attention, both in the admissions process and while you're here at Hillsdale. We have an average 8-to-1 student to teacher ratio, and the average class size is about 13, which means you're not sitting in big 300-person auditoriums. You're not being taught by TAs. You're actually having a professor with their terminal degree. 91% of our faculty has the highest degree in their field of study. So that gives you a true opportunity to learn as opposed to regurgitating information. We're really focused on those critical thinking skills, those discussion-based classrooms. And so if you get a chance to visit our campus, you'll see some of our classrooms are as small as one little table where you sit with maybe 3 or 4 of the students and the professor. So that's a great opportunity to really get the attention that you need to make sure that you truly understand the topic that you're studying. We're independent, which means that we are able to make the best decisions for our students because we don't take any federal or state funding. So while you're seeing schools across the nation shutting down because they're losing government funding, we are actually growing. So you'll see construction on our campus, which may not always be pretty, but it's a sign of growth, which is beautiful. We are a classical liberal arts college, meaning we study the classics, the greatest things that have been thought, written, and spoken throughout all of history. Liberal, meaning free thinking, allowing you to use the information that you're learning to free your mind so that you can then go on to create that which is art, right? So put those three things together, the greatest things that have been created by humans that allow you to think freely. And we believe a hallmark of a free thinking society is a free education, meaning that the government doesn't tell you what you can and cannot teach. So that's again, it goes back to our independence from our very founding. We are a Christian college, which means that I think that's pretty self-explanatory, but we believe in truth and we believe that there is truth. We don't tell you what that truth is though. So we don't require any of our students, staff, or faculty to sign a statement of faith. We encourage you to be open to discussing the idea of God and asking that question, and knowing that by studying these great things, it will lead to the truth. Um, and we don't have any mandatory chapel services, but we are considered the number 2 most religious student body in the country. So no matter what your faith background is, whether you're Christian, Jewish, Muslim, or still trying to understand faith, you will be challenged and you will be asked to discuss that here on campus. And we encourage students to do that. And lastly, we're a college, which means, of course, we're here to study these great things, but we also believe in community. So we have more than 150 different clubs on campus. We have over 14 NCAA Division II sports. So our athletes in the group, but whether you want to play football, basketball, softball, swimming, tennis, we have those available to compete at that NCAA division level. So now I really want to talk about when to start thinking about college, how to get into college. It is never too early to start thinking about college, right? So whether you are a middle schooler getting ready to go into high school, or you're a high school senior and oh no, it's already October, it's already September, you really need to be making these choices soon. It's not too late to start the process. So I would encourage you to, the earlier the better. Of course, you're going to set yourself up for success if you start early, but it's not too late for our seniors in the group to get started now. So when you look at the applications for college, there's going to be 2 different avenues that you can follow. One will be school-specific applications, which means you would log on to hillsdale.edu and apply directly on our website. And then there's the Common App, which is a third-party application, which allows you to do your application one time and send it to multiple schools. I'm going to talk a little bit about both, but I'll tell you the Common App is generally going to be easier. Work smarter, not harder. You should be applying to more than one college, and it allows you to fill that application at one time and send it off to multiple schools. Some benefits of school-specific applications: they're usually free. Hillsdale is free to apply on all platforms, but some schools do charge an application fee if you apply via the Common App. And then if you're applying, again, school specific, you might get some sort of advantage in the admissions process. Some schools will offer you bonus points if you do that. Hillsdale is not one of those schools, but if your dream school offers you even a 5-point advantage, a 1% point advantage, I would encourage you to take that advantage. Take every advantage you can get when you're applying to college. But with the Common App, you write one essay. You send that essay off to multiple schools. You do one application off to multiple schools. The people who write your letters of recommendation only have to upload them to one spot, and it goes to every school you're applying to that takes the Common App. So there are definitely benefits to doing the Common Application. So what does the application consist of? So your application is going to have five or six key sections. All schools are going to ask for your biographical details. Those are pretty easy for most people to do. So I'm not going to go into too many details. That's your name, where you're from, maybe what you're looking to study. They'll ask for your parents' information or your guardian's information. Pretty much the easiest section to master. It will also ask you if you are first generation to go to college. If your parents did not graduate from a 4-year institution with a bachelor's degree or higher, you are considered first generation on the Common App, which means you should check yes on that box, and that can definitely give you an advantage in the financial aid department at most schools. So I'd encourage you to check that. Then we're going to go talk about your academics. So this is going to be your transcripts for most schools, right? So this is going to be all your grades in high school. So for those of you who are not in high school, your freshman year, day 1 grades that you got that first day freshman year, those matter when you go to apply to college. So you should take high school very seriously from day 1. And we will look at your grades all the way through the end of your junior year because you apply as a senior. So we won't have your senior year grades yet, but we will request those after you graduate. So make sure you don't have senioritis, a case of senioritis. And then with your academics, we're also going to be looking at your test scores if you choose to submit them. Now, Hillsdale, along with other schools, are considered, we are test optional, but test preferred, meaning you're not required to submit an SAT or ACT score, but we really encourage you, if you feel like your score represents your academic ability, to submit a strong test score. We offer you the opportunity to submit a resume. And that is going to be not like a resume for a job, but rather an activity resume. All the fun things you do outside the classroom. So in an ideal world, we want to see that you have a wide variety of activities that you've done long term and have leadership within. So freshman, sophomore year, that's a great time to try new things, to try new clubs, to try new sports, to try new activities. But definitely by sophomore, junior year, you should be looking at trying to get leadership roles within those organizations, within those sports, within your community. And then senior year, we want to see that you're sticking with those activities. We want to see the 4 year engagement with those activities when possible. And I'm happy to go over with you anytime. I'll share my contact information, but I'm always willing to look over your activity resume. I'm always willing to look over your transcripts and give you advice. Always willing to look over your college essays and help you prep for interviews. And that's just one of the services that Hillsdale provides for free. Your letters of recommendation. This is probably the easiest one for you because you don't have to do it. You only have to request from a teacher or from a community leader for them to write this letter on your behalf. So you don't have a lot of control over it. So control what you can. You can control who you ask and you can control when you ask them. Ask early, ask often. Ask those teachers who absolutely love you and adore you to write those letters of recommendation. And if your teacher gives you, excuse me, gives you any sort of pause or hesitation, ask somebody else. You want them to want to write these letters of recommendation for you. Then we have your essays. And I know we're going to talk a lot about AI tonight. So one piece of advice I have for you when it comes to writing your personal essay is to be yourself. And AI is not going to be able to speak about your personal experiences the same way that you can. So Hillsdale discourages the use of AI in the admissions process. So I would definitely encourage you to write your essay, proofread your essay, have somebody else proofread your essay, and then maybe have somebody who doesn't know what your prompt is to proofread your essay. Your essays are all about who you are as a person and who you want to become in the future. So take advantage of that opportunity to be true to yourself. And then we also require 3 additional short answer questions, as do many other schools. So just note that those are also considered just as heavily as your personal essay. So don't take a shortcut and spend all your time only on that one long essay and just quickly whip out those last essays, because those are equally important. And probably the best part of the interview, for me at least, is the interview. Hillsdale interviews 99% of our freshman class, which means it is impossible to get in without an interview. It's next to impossible. So that's a great opportunity to showcase yourself, to shine. Other students may be using AI in their admissions process, but if you don't, it gives you the opportunity to show how you can think critically in person, how you can, who are you? What's your personality like? We want to see that. If you're not smiling and having a good time during your interview, it's probably not going well. So I would definitely encourage you to take advantage of any time a college offers you an optional interview. Use it to your advantage to showcase how wonderful you are as a person. We do these interviews in person here at our Hillsdale campus in Michigan, but we also travel around the country to do these interviews locally as well. So that you should have no reason that you can't find a time or place to do an interview. And that's something I'm also happy to help you prep for. There's no trick questions. Again, we really just want to know who you are as a person right now and who you want to be in the future. So that's really what the nuts and bolts of the college application process. Again, I'm happy to answer any questions. I know I kind of went a little over on the time, so please, by all means, send any questions in the chat. I'll stay on for a little bit and I'll share my contact information if anybody has any questions.
I did want to just ask if Hillsdale accepts the CLT instead of the ACT or the SAT.
Yes, we do accept the classic learning test, the CLT, and they are all considered equally. So whatever test you are best at is the one we would encourage you to submit. I say try them all at least once. You can request a fee waiver so you're not shelling out $100 a pop for these different tests. But definitely take them all at least once, see which one you're doing the best at, and then focus your study techniques on that one test that you are already at an advantage for.
I think you have time for like one more question if anybody has anything they'd like to ask.
I'll just assume I was that thorough. So I'll share my email in the chat and you guys can email me with any questions. Feel free to email me your resumes or your essays if you want just a third party to take a look at that, no matter what school you're applying to. I'm happy to help. And then just a quick plug for the Frederick Douglass Scholarship here at Hillsdale College, a full ride, almost $50,000 a year to come here for any student who's involved with Parents Challenge. So I would encourage you to take advantage of that.
Will you also, sorry, I know that we're trying to transition speakers, but Um, will you also just drop a link or some direct information um, about the Frederick Douglass Scholarship, deadlines, etc.?
Yes, I will do that.
We will send you information. And so parents, what we'll do is in our next Monday post with program information, I'll make sure to have that information in there as well for you guys to be able to click on those links. All right. Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Jolie. Again, Hillsdale's an amazing school. Go there if you can. It's awesome. I enjoyed it. So thank you again so much for being here and offering your time. So now I'd like to introduce Jeff Steepleton. He is the Director of Scholar Selection and Strategic Partnerships for the Daniels Fund Scholarship. I know that some of you have heard of the Daniels Fund, and some of you have not, but it is an amazing scholarship program where not only do you get the majority, and depending on the school that you attend, fully paid for all 4 years, but throughout the 4 years, you get to experience mentorship and character development, and they really walk alongside you to make sure that you really get the most out of your college experience. And we've had the privilege of partnering with Daniels Fund for several years and watching several of our scholars receive the Daniels Fund. So, Jeff Steepleton, tell us more about Daniels Fund.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Kat and Deborah, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's nice to meet you all, and a real honor to follow Hillsdale. And a lot of what you heard from Jolie is similar to what you're going to hear from me about the Daniels Scholarship. And so I'm going to pull up a presentation, and we'll walk through that for our visual learners. So give me just a second to pull this up. All right. Can you all see my presentation there? All right. Well, in order to be successful with the Daniels Scholarship, it's really important to understand who Bill Daniels was, because we go back to that many, many times, and he's the reason why we're able to give scholarships was because of his success in business. And so, if you choose to apply for the Daniels Scholarship, understanding who Bill Daniels was, what drove him, will help you understand what we're looking for and if it's a good fit for you or not. So Bill Daniels made his fortune in cable television. He was a cable television pioneer and saw opportunity to bring television out to rural areas where he lived in Casper, Wyoming, and so that really was the genesis of what became a very successful career as a cable television entrepreneur. He was also a proud patriot. He fought in 2 wars. He was a decorated combat pilot, and so he loved this country and so much that he fought for it and risked his life multiple times and was awarded for his bravery. He loved sports. He was a boxer. He played basketball. He also was a part owner of the Los Angeles Lakers and the Utah Stars, and helped bring racing competitions to Colorado and did a number of other things. Bill Daniels gave away a lot of money while he was alive and will continue to give forever, because he started the Daniels Fund when he passed away in the year 2000, and left $1 billion for us to give both grants and scholarships out. And finally, he was known for compassion, ethics, and integrity. And those were things that he attributed his success in business to, and are key things that we're looking for in Daniels Scholars. So let me tell you a little bit more about the Daniels Scholarship Program. So we are a 4-year college scholarship. We give students the opportunity to choose where they'd like to go to college. So you can attend any accredited nonprofit university in the United States. We've had students attend colleges in all 50 states. And right now, I believe they're at I think 40 states as we speak. And we've got 2 different models here. We have a full cost of attendance model if you choose to attend one of our 23 partner schools. And I'll show you a map here in just a second of those schools. But really, it's all of the major schools in Colorado, New Mexico, Utah, and Wyoming, including also then Hillsdale and West Texas A&M. So full cost of attendance at any of those schools. Or if you choose to go somewhere else, you can get up to $25,000 per year at any other university outside of our 4 states. And we say up to because it's really based on your cost of attendance. We're a last dollar scholarship, so that's after your federal aid, your institutional aid, and any other scholarships. That's what we can contribute. And we can't give more than your cost of attendance, and you can't make money off of college scholarships. So that's why we say up to that. But it really is a full ride comprehensive scholarship. This here's our list of partner schools, and you can find this on the website. I'm not going to leave this up, but danielsfund.org/scholarships. You can find this map, and we're in discussion with other universities, so this may grow, and there may be other partner schools. But just a reminder, you can go to any school. It doesn't just have to be one of these partner schools. So what does the scholarship cover? So it covers your tuition and fees, room and board, miscellaneous educational expenses, books and supplies, really anything that shows up on your cost of attendance, other than travel, we can cover. So very comprehensive. And our goal is to help our scholars graduate debt-free. And so we have a team that works with you to graduate in 4 years and graduate debt-free. The Daniel Scholarship is a lot more than just the money. That's what people know about, but it really is a program, and we become your partner while you're with us in college. And then we also have an alumni chapter of 5,000 Daniel Scholars alums that are out there that are looking to hire Daniel Scholars and help transition from college into the working world. So we've got a team of 6 people at the Daniels Fund that work with Daniel Scholars from the beginning, like me, when you're in high school and thinking about it and going through the application process. I've got 3 team members that are scholar success officers that work with scholars throughout their 4 years in college. And then we're looking also at fellowship and internship opportunities. You may, if you look at the Denver Gazette and know about Common Sense Institute, we've got some fellows there that have been authoring some great studies about economic issues here in Colorado. And so we're looking for ways to really build on the leader you already are and help you strengthen that and propel you into the future, and maybe introduce you to some new opportunities that you might not have known about before. So let's talk a little bit about eligibility. So to be eligible, you need to be a graduating high school senior and a resident of Colorado, New Mexico, Utah, or Wyoming. So I get asked sometimes, what if I'm graduating early? Now would be the time to apply if you haven't graduated yet. If some students are doing concurrent enrollment or ASCEP programs or different things. So there's a lot of different situations, but if you're graduating in the next year, then now is the time to apply. Scholars need to be citizens or permanent residents of the United States, need to have a minimum grade point average unweighted of 3.0, need to take either the SAT or ACT. Those are the 2 that we require by bylaw, so can't accept other standardized tests, but need to have a minimum of 980 in your SAT or 18 on your ACT. So the deadline for those is November 14th. If you'd like to apply and you don't have those scores quite yet, there's still plenty of time to take those tests and get those qualifying scores. And then finally, we're a need-based scholarship. So we determine that based on the tax return that claimed the applicant in 2024. The adjusted gross income needs to be $100,000 or less. So that's line 11 of your tax return there. And it can be $10,000 higher for each additional dependent in the household. So if that's the applicant and maybe 2 other dependents, that threshold would be $120,000. So there's, again, more detail about that on the website. And I'm always happy to talk through your personal situation. Someone called me the other day and asked, they had an unfortunate situation and had to withdraw some funds from their 401k account. So their adjusted gross income showed up higher than it normally does. We look at things like that. There's a spot on the application to explain an unusual financial circumstance that means that what you earned in 2024 wasn't necessarily what you're going to be earning moving forward. And so we do look at that. Looking at a couple comments here, can this go towards tech schools? Holly, good question. No, if the school is a 4 year and you're pursuing a bachelor's degree, then yes. But a tech school, I would imagine that that would not fit into that category. So there are other scholarships and the Boundless Opportunity Scholarship and other things, but the Daniels Scholarship would not, I don't believe, apply to what you're asking about there. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about what we're looking for. And these are criteria that Bill Daniels put a lot of thought and consideration into. And so we're looking at strength of character, we're looking at academic performance, leadership potential, commitment to giving back, a well-rounded personality, and then, as I talked about, alignment with Bill Daniels' values. And so we use a 3-step process to get to know you. And I'd echo what Jolie said. I get questions about our stance on AI and how to use that. We use it all the time at the Daniels Fund for our day-to-day work. But I don't think that using AI to write essays or to try to position your application in a way that you think we're looking for is a good use. So we do advise students to show good integrity and fairness and not use AI for their essays. We look at thousands of essays. So if you are using AI, it'll be obvious because we see other people with similar essay responses, and it doesn't tell us who you are, and it doesn't put your best foot forward. So I would say is if you do advance to the second phase, when we ask for our essays, please avoid AI and go through the same steps that Jolie talked about to really put your best foot forward. I'm going to open it up to questions here now, but a couple of things I would encourage you to think about is don't try to tell us what you think we're looking to hear. That if you do that and then you advance forward, it becomes really obvious. And so what makes you special, what got you here at Parents Challenge, is what we're looking to understand and get to know. So be yourself throughout the process. This QR code here will take you to our Instagram account, and we're posting reminders and tips and tricks and things throughout the process. So if you're on there, go ahead and follow us. The application opens on Monday, so don't wait till the last minute. It takes less than an hour to complete the Daniels Scholarship application, the first phase. And in that phase, we're looking for things like again, similar to what Jolie talked about, we've got our eligibility questions, but we also have things around your extracurricular activities, your leadership, community involvement, and then about a 45-question personality profile. So I'm going to look at these chat questions. I can't see them right now. But for more information, go to danielsfund.org/scholarships. That's where we go into more detail. There's also a phone number on there, and me or my colleagues are more than happy to answer questions at any time. If you email scholarselection@danielsfund.org, I also monitor that and am happy to respond as you get into the application and have questions. So with that, I'm going to stop my screen share and go into the chat, and let's have a discussion. So let's see here.
Will you have the conference this year like you did last year, featuring schools and resources?
Yes, thank you for asking about that. Our showcase, did you attend that showcase last year?
I did. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Okay, awesome. Yes, we're doing that again. It's October 4th this year, and it's going to be even bigger than last year. So we've got, I believe, 7 new table hosts, and that's a combination of new colleges and other scholarship providers. So October 4th from 8 o'clock to 11 at the CSU Spur campus. Here, let me put into the chat here.
So folks who are interested in this showcase, we actually do have this information posted in Band, so we can tag you in that. We've got your flyer posted and it's in our calendar, so you're all tracking with it.
Awesome. Yes, thank you. So it's going to be a great opportunity, should be worthwhile. We're going to have someone from College Board actually coming out to talk about scholarship aggregators and national opportunities. So yes, it should be better than ever, and we're excited to be doing that again. Go ahead and RSVP to let us know if you're able to come, so we can have a good count of the number. Kelsey, these are for seniors only. Yes, so high school seniors, you need to be a graduating senior because it's a program. So when you need to start right after. We do make exceptions, like people ask about gap years and things like that. And if you're going on a religious mission, or there's military service, or the one other one that we've done lately is if someone's an FFA board of advisor, that's a year-long commitment. We make accommodations and grant a leave of absence for that. But otherwise, we do ask that you start right away, because it can be hard if you take a gap year to get back into college. And our goal is for you to graduate in 4 years. So that is our requirement. Should juniors start the process? Cruz family, good question. I think the process is preparing yourself and being aware. So there's nothing you can do from an actual application standpoint, but thinking about it as a junior, getting that ACT or SAT score at the end of the junior year and being prepared are great ways to prepare. And then in the fall of the following year, next September, you'll be ready to go when you can actually apply for it. So these are great questions. Other questions you all have? And I do think Hillsdale is actually going to have a table there this year. I believe West Texas is going to have a table. Oh, thanks, Cadence. I see flight school. This is a tricky one. We have always a couple students that are pursuing flight training. I don't believe the scholarship can actually cover the flight hours, but there are a couple of universities out there that offer like a 4-year degree in aviation sciences, and students are doing that. So it's not as clean as some other majors. And again, we can't pay for flight hours with the scholarship. There's some sort of IRS regulation that doesn't allow us to do that. But within those parameters, we do have students that are pursuing aviation in that way. Jennifer, international school. So can you tell me more about what you're thinking? Are you thinking like an overseas university, or vet school in New Zealand? Okay, so no, it needs to be a United States based university per IRS regulation. So you could pursue a vet degree here at West Texas or CSU, but not in New Zealand with this scholarship. Good question. Other questions? Dual citizenship, Cruz family, another good question. As long as they're a U.S. citizen, then that's great if they have dual citizenship. So citizenship in the United States or permanent residency makes you eligible. Dual citizenship, I haven't seen that before, but as long as the U.S. is one of those countries, then yes, the student's eligible. So we'd ask for proof of that, like a passport or something like that in the second phase. Melanie, any additional requirements for homeschoolers? No. The one thing we do ask for counselor information early on in the registration, and homeschoolers wouldn't probably have a counselor, so you can put NA for that in the application. We would ask for, no, there's no additional requirements. We have many homeschool applicants every year, and students that receive the scholarship. So we're very friendly to that. Other questions?
All right. Well, that's going to be our last question for Jeff tonight. Thank you so much, Jeff, for being here and sharing about Daniel's Fund. And just, it's such a great scholarship. I want to encourage all of our seniors, apply, apply, apply. It's great practice, honestly, for just applying resumes, all of those things. But it is so worth it. And again, they provide so much mentorship throughout the time, even post graduation. it's worth it. So please make sure you apply, and we will also be sending out that information on Monday's post as well for you to be able to um, do a little more research or reach out if you have any other questions. So thank you so much, Jeff.
Yeah, thanks, Kat. Thanks, everyone.
Absolutely. All right, and so now I'm going to introduce our main speaker for tonight, Ms. Lori Vitar, who is a award-winning education expert, founder of SOS Education Services, and the author of SOS Save Our Students. With 24 plus years of experience, she's recognized as a Disney American Teacher nominee, Teacher of the Year, and the governor's top 100 middle school award recipient. She's been a fantastic asset to Parents Challenge, and honestly, a lot of our families benefited from her tutelage during COVID. We were so extremely grateful for that. And so, Lori, we are so excited to have you here tonight to share a little bit more about AI and how students can utilize that to further their education.
Thank you, Kat. It's always wonderful to be here and to spend time with everyone. I'm looking around the screen and it looks kind of like a split tonight of parents and students. And so I was going to be giving a parent session towards the end of October, but really this one tonight, everyone is welcome, but it's a working session. So all of my high schoolers that I can see, you want to grab something to write with. And I actually created a workbook. So you may pull that up on your computer. Those of you that are working, I see some of you are, you can pull the workbook up there. You can also, I made it so that you would also just be able to use paper and pencil. So we're going to put that workbook link in the chat, and I'm going to start and share my screen and get everything up and running the way we want to today. So that gives you just a second, and we will go from here. I'm excited to do this one. This is a new presentation for me, and I've been using a lot in my tutoring company, a lot of work with my high schoolers. So first, I want to confirm that I'm on the right screen. I usually end up on the wrong one, and I can see that I am. So we're going to take a look at AI. What is it? But more importantly to me, this is not me talking. I'm going to give great information, but then we're going to practice and we're going to do activities to show real world ways to use AI impactfully and to help make a difference, both in your high school and education career, but also in your future. So this is where we start. Why are we here? Maybe you think you know about AI, and maybe you'll find out later in a Kahoot whether you do or not, but understand what it is on a primitive level, how to use it in education, as I mentioned, how it's going to impact your career. It's coming up faster than you think. And then we're going to really consider some of the potential risks that could be involved. And I'm sure some of you have been thinking about that. So who am I? I got a great introduction. My time with all of my tutoring students there at Parents Challenge has always been amazing to me. And now I am serving in a new role. I am the Director of Admissions and Scholar Support for Access College America. So I have some great ideas and tips and supports along the lines of applying for college, because that's a full-time job in and of itself. So I'm going to infuse some of that and give away a couple gift certificates today for a masterclass. I live in Las Vegas. I was too cold in Colorado, you guys. I just couldn't take it. So I'm here in Vegas, and, you know, I have done a lot of work, but my heart is always being able to spend time with kids. So I'm happy to be here with you and really go through this time together for the 90 minutes. But I want you to know, how are we going to spend it? So we'll start by the simple stuff. We'll look at AI and how does it work, and then look at the practice of using it in education. Then we're going to take a break, because you're going to want one for sure. From there, when we get back from break, we're going to look at your career and the concerns, and have you plan some next steps and do an evaluation. So I hope that everyone's had an opportunity to either grab the workbook link or just grab a paper and some pencil, because this will be a lot more valuable to you if you're able to interact. And I put it in there so I don't forget. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at what you already know and where you fall on the goals that we're going to cover tonight. So you're going to rate when I bring your goals up, and if you have the workbook, you see them already. If you're a 4, you really could run the session. You're going to be the expert. If you're a 3, you know pretty much. 2, you're making progress. And 1 is this is really brand new to you. So I love to have you assess now, and we'll assess when we close. So the very first goal that I'd love you to rate yourself on is going to be, can you describe AI and how it works? So if you're using your workbook, there's a number to circle, but otherwise you can just write down whether you're a 4, 3, 2, or 1. Second one, can you identify 3 tools that you can use for AI in your education? 4, 3, 2, or 1. Have you considered, or are you considering potential careers aligned with the future? 4, 3, 2, or 1. And we've got someone marking on our screen. Thank you, Karuchi. But I feel like we probably want to stop that. If some of my supporters could work through that sharing and getting that off the screen, it'd be great. And then the last one of the goals, I would love it if you could rate yourself on understanding the potential hazards. You may not have thought that far yet. Are you a 4, 3, 2, or 1? But the most important thing for me is the next one. What is your goal for this session? Ultimately, it's your training, and being able to set an idea of what you want to walk away with is really important for you, but it's also important for me. So when you think about a goal you have for what you want to take away tonight, jot it down, but more importantly, chat it in if you're comfortable, because then I can personalize this session to hopefully meet some of those goals that aren't already covered. So anyone that would like to chat in what your goal is, please do that. But in the meantime, hopefully you'll set one for yourself. And hopefully, like these 2 robots, I'll be able to score a goal and help you meet those. I know it was corny and fun. So most of you in school have used Kahoot. And so we've got a chance to really play and see, do you really know what some of these AI platforms are used for? So for those of you that have used it in school, you know that you're going to go in your browser to kahoot.it. I'm going to step away from this main screen here, and I am going to launch the Kahoot, and it will give us a PIN code. So you're going to need the game code. And once you're on kahoot.it, it's going to ask you, join a game. And it's generating a PIN for us. Now, my students, if you've played it, you know what the deal is. It's being able to get the correct answer the fastest. So our leaderboard tonight is going to have someone who has scored the most points because they answered fast and correctly. So adults, you're welcome to play along. I see we've got some good people. They know how to play, I'm sure. It looks like some of my students are on here already. And I'm going to wait till we get maybe 1 or 2 more folks, and then I'm going to launch the game. I don't see Catherine Hendrick's name. Catherine, where's yours? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. All right, good. Everybody's getting started. We're going to have 10 questions, and good luck. Here we go. ChatGPT is mainly used for, click on the color and symbol of the right answer. And Raquel, if you can block the participants from, oh, look at everybody, good job. If you could block the participants from writing on the screen, that would be wonderful. Thank you. All right, let's see how you did. Who got the most points? Oh, Jalen Ramsey, I think. Maybe. I'm just playing because I love football. Good job, everybody. All right, here we go. Next question. TikTok, is mainly used for. Look at that. Everybody knew that one. Good job, but who got it fast? There we go. Climbing the leaderboard. Which of these is an AI writing assistant? You guys are on fire. I love it. Wasn't sure how these would go over because you know I use ChatGPT to make the questions. Here you go. Good luck. Discord is most popular for. Okay, that is a new one, and I bet that might be one or two of our adults because it was video games and community chats. That's a separate browser that a lot of those students will use. So let's see how we did here. Oh, it's a tied competition, 3788, 3787. DAL-E is an AI tool that creates this is a new one and we're going to be using it tonight. That's good. Not everybody knows about it because you're going to learn tonight. That'll be wonderful. Great job. It actually creates images and we're going to use it as part of our work later. Which app encourages users to post a photo at the same time every day? I had no idea of this one. It's called Be Real. So those of you that are in the other category, you're with me. It's a new one. Let's see how the students did. Very nice. Googlebot is mainly used for. Oh, a lot of you knew it. I had never heard of it. I'm not in the classroom right now. It is for paraphrasing and summarizing. That's wonderful. Some of you knew that. Most of you. All right. Coming close. True or false? Instagram is mainly used for coding projects. There we go. I thought that would come across faster on that one. Oh, Ramsey's got 8 correct in a row. Good job. Question 9. Socratic by Google helps students with. Wonderful. I am so impressed and so excited that you are knowing so much about some of these tools. So it is helpful for solving homework questions. And your last one, good luck. Spotify's recommendations use. Nice job. AI algorithms. We'll talk about predictive analysis as we go along today, but each thing we click on gives information for that to shape our behavior. So well done. So now let's see who is the raffle winner tonight, who is at the top of the podium. We will want to get their email for sure. Put it in there. Okay, Ramsey came in third. Leverance, and someone pulled it out. Who is our winner? Casey. Well done, well done. So Casey, and look, everyone did a really nice job. I hope you enjoyed that. Good work, how fun. I just wanted to have a way to think about some of the tools that we're going to be doing and talking through tonight. I hope that was a fun way for us to think about it. All right, so let's get into some of the content. And I need to move past my, it's funny. I need to get off this screen and get back to my presentation. So I can do that. I just need to close it. Give me just a second. Did we get the email of Casey in the chat? All right. Well, for those of you that seem to be pretty proficient, one of the things that I think teachers and a lot of people do is they just talk, right? Oh, well, we're going to use AI, and no one really ever stops to break it down. And again, have this much knowledge, but sometimes that's good because I want to be able to break it down in a very simplistic manner. And again, I don't want to insult anybody's intelligence, but really, AI is a machine that's trained and it's been training for a long time to think and learn like we do. Obviously, you know a lot of the good examples because you scored really well in Kahoot, but it continues to advance with image recognition and creation and the different things that it wasn't able to do as it continues to learn. There are two types. One is machine learning, essentially, and then the other section that I want to talk about is large language models. They're both AI, but they do two different things, even though they do work together. So machine learning is that broad field where computers really just learn and grow without someone sitting in and typing in the coding. Obviously, I thought I'd be funny. It says, imagine giving a computer to recognize a kid by giving it 1,000 pictures. Well, it learns the patterns and the trends, just like we would if we had a baby, right? Cat, we'd show it the picture. So that's really how the machine learning works or was evolved from the very simple stages, probably back in the 90s. So the nice part is as it's grown, it's used for a lot of tasks like predicting house prices, recommending movies, or detecting fraud. So that's one aspect to AI. The other part, as I mentioned, is the large learning models. And it's a specific type of machine learning. And this is the one that we really know a lot more about. It is the one to interact with. And it would be like a digital brain that has taken all of this information. And I'm pretty sure you recognize this is very much like ChatGPT, where we can have conversation and it continues to improve. It understands context. You can ask it questions. It can write stories. There are 8 or 10 or 12 different ones that do this. We're going to look at 3, but the one most people are familiar with is ChatGPT. And again, you may not care, but you may not have thought about, well, how did this all come about, right? It started back in the 90s when coders and people were programming computers. Over time, it's just like us growing from a baby, getting training, learning, recognizing patterns, and now being able to predict. The machine learning is moving so fast that even some of those creators are a little frightened at the speed at which it's learning because of the way it is designed. Well, how's it impacting our lives? Most of these you would already know, but some of those are everywhere you look, especially for you guys in high school. Maybe you hadn't thought about it because it always seemed very natural. But as we continue to go, this is going to be even more and more prolific. You have a Ring camera. Your phone has all of your information. Every place you go on social media, everything you buy on Amazon is paying attention and recognizing different things, banking, navigation. So everywhere you guys go, it probably seems very natural. People my generation and even a couple of generations before me had a very different lifestyle. So for us, sometimes it's a lot to understand. So let's look at how are you using it in school, because that's really what's in front of you right now. And there's a lot of conversation and a lot of different things where, oh, we're going to do this, that, and the other, but, don't use it and we're going to block it. So I know that each school that you guys go to is a little bit different, but my goal as a teacher, tutor, whomever I am with you today is to help you think about how you would use it and practice to use it well. So you are going to have a different life. And when you get past high school and college, these are the traits that you're going to need to have as an AI ready graduate. You've got to be able to learn on your own. Even though AI can give you answers, you're going to have to be able to do the right research and pull that all together as a synthesizer. You're going to have to come up with great ideas to have help from. You're going to have to connect things, and you're going to have to be a great storyteller. Skills that I would have mentioned 5 years ago or 10 years ago that I would say to students, hey, listen, when you graduate high school or college, this is where you need to be. So I wanted to make sure you were thinking in a little different way. Those parents that are on here, it probably may help shift your thinking as well. Well, I want to know how you use it now. How are you using it? So how do you use AI? Even if you're a parent, I'd love to hear that. I've created a Padlet. And so for those of you that can grab that QR code, please do, because I'm going to show you how to use it. And if not, I'm going to pull it up. If you've never used this before, it's simple and it gives us all just a really cool idea. So when you get to the Padlet, you're going to click on the plus sign and you're going to type in something. Sorry, I know what I'm doing. I use it for Facebook. So Facebook is a big AI and I'm going to publish that. So once I type in my idea, we're going to end up having a big board of ideas from everything you also share on how you use AI right now, especially my young people. I'm looking to see how are you already using it. And if you're not able to do it, let me grab that QR code and pop it in the chat just to be on the safe side. Whoops. Nice, thanks guys. This is just a little different. I tried something different than maybe just do a poll or whatever. I wanted to show you that there are lots of cool ways and things that you may not have known about. Nice, vacation planner, different ideas, spell check, grammar, lots of different ideas. And I appreciate you taking the time to share that just so it gives me, Google search is, yes, it is. AI. Building websites, beautiful. Thank you guys so much. I want to get back to make sure I am on the right part. So keep adding to that Padlet. We'll share that and look a little deeper. But I did, of course, do some research to see, well, how are young people using it? So what I found out, and I think you probably shared that already, people are using it for therapy, for breakups, and even texting their friends. They're confiding in these chatbots and AI, and it is contributing to some concerns. And there's actually been a lawsuit because part of that whole experience of a young person, they continued to dialogue with a chatbot and somehow decided that their best option was to commit suicide. So that's a potential concern. And there are big lawsuits, and now there are going to be guardrails and things that are going to be put on because sometimes people don't even realize that this is not a person. This is not an option. And it makes a lot of mistakes, even though it is good for so many different things. So it can give us good ideas, but it also is not human. And it's also important to think through that, to use it in a way that will be helpful, not harmful to you. In personal use, typically what students do, and you guys really indicated that in some ways, you're bored, right? You know, you love the TikTok, everybody. I've never used it, thank God, because I hear it is just bananas. But someone said, you know, they want to create content, creating websites, planning activities. That was up there on our Padlet, getting health advice. Well, back in the day, what we folks my age or a little younger used to say, oh, well, let's consult Dr. Google. So we do look up things like that just to get information. In school, typically young people are using it for homework help, grab information, hopefully using it for brainstorming and ideas and generating some different things. Some people use it for language translation, and that's a pretty powerful. We've been using Google Translate for years, right? But now it's just continuing to advance. And my goal tonight is to really focus a little bit more on the last one, the note taking and the organization, because the tools can be used to really help you study powerfully. So looks to be lined up with what you shared on the Padlet. And what we know is schools, oh my God, what are we going to do? Oh, I don't even know. Right. And so we know that schools do that. And you can tell, even though I was a teacher, I don't always subscribe to their methodology. So I'm curious. I have put together in your workbook these statements, and I'm curious whether you agree or disagree. So the very first one I put, do you agree or disagree with this statement? Students are curious, self-directed learners who will use technology responsibly if given the right guardrails. If you're writing, you can put an A or D, or those of you that know how to use the React option on the menu bar, you can give me a thumbs up, or you can even do it just in your individual piece. Next one. Most students don't use AI to brainstorm or refine ideas. They just use it to get assignments done faster. You agree or disagree? Next one, school policies built on optimism rather than observation have done little to stop it. And the last one, students are learning by using AI. There was a lot of information. I'd love to have some folk chat in a few ideas, and not to call anybody out or call anybody. I would love to hear from maybe one or two of my high schoolers to hear what you think on some of these topics. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to scroll down and ask one of my students if they would be comfortable telling us how they think about some of this. And the first one I see here is Angelo. Would you be comfortable sharing what you think about this, or would you prefer to pass? You just need to come off mute.
I'll pass for now.
Okay, thank you. No problem. Like I said, I'm not trying to gotcha anybody. I'm just curious. Let's see. How about JJ?
I guess I'll share for statement number one. I agree with the part where students are curious, self-directed learners, but I don't think that we are capable of properly using it. Like, at least for me, it's tempting, especially like if I have to stay up late to finish work. Like, oh, I can just have AI do it for me and I could just go to bed. So it's just kind of in the human nature to take the easier route.
Great comment and great feedback. And I would definitely, based on the students I tutor, I will believe that that's about right. Cadence, did you have Cadence? I don't want to say your name wrong. I'm sorry. Did you have any thoughts on this?
I can do it for the second one.
Okay, great.
I think that it kind of depends on the person, because we can use AI to brainstorm, and me personally, I do sometimes, but every once in a while when I'm just tired, like the person before me was saying, I just want to get it done with AI and just go to bed.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. I was glancing through the comments in the chat, and so it's good to just kind of get that out there and talk through it. And parents, it's also good to have you as a part of this, just to think about what you see and how you feel. And so thank you for your comments, everybody. I appreciate it. Well, one of the things that we know is you're tired. It's practical, but in reality, you need to be able to use those skills that you may have not thought about to fact check. A lot of the stuff that you see, they call it hallucinations. A lot of that stuff isn't even accurate. So that is a big concern. So as you grow in your usage, obviously fact checking everything is going to be really important, as well as avoiding plagiarism, right? So if you do use it, being able to find the right ways to quote or cite or document the fact that this part was done with AI. One of my tutoring students and I, he'll put in a question and get an answer in writing, and then he'll look at it and we'll look at it together. And he said, "Oh, I would never say it like that." So what he does is he takes the information, he puts it there, and then he changes the wording where it would really, like we talked about earlier with the college, that it would really reflect how he would actually talk. So it was one kind of cool way I saw. Credit the use, and then again, watch for the bias. Once someone learns it wrong, it just continues to keep going wrong. So just something to think about as we go along. So 66% to 92%. What the heck do you think that number is? May I call on an adult? I see at the top of my screen, Holly, even though it's a gentleman. Would you be comfortable telling me what you think those numbers are? He may not know he's called Holly right now. The last name is D. Herrera. No worries. Thank you. Well, I'll share because I would rather us be doing some work, but I do want us to think about information. In 2024, 66% of high school students were using AI. 2025, as the person in the chat said, students are using it. 92% of students are using AI right now in the work they do, even if it's blocked, as my friend who was substituting said. We're going to look at 3 tools tonight and think about ways you can use them and explore them. And if you're using the workbook, you'll see each one of these. And if not, no worries. You can get this workbook link and look at it later or use it. But for now, let's move forward. And the first one I want to cover is one you may not know about. It's called Conmigo. You know Khan Academy. Well, they've also designed a personalized AI tutor, but also have a platform for teachers that it will do a lot of their lesson planning and things. I'm certified in Conmigo. But for students, it's really almost like a one-on-one tutor. And it really works with you like I might. It won't give you the answers, but it'll ask you great questions to help you get there. So on there are 2 links that when you look at the workbook at another time, you can dig in a little bit and say, how can I learn about it? And how can I use it for college and careers? Because that's another great tool that could be available. The pros, it won't give you the answer. That's a pro. I think you both, a couple of my high schoolers said, it actually does help me learn. And so in this one, it would be like me. I wouldn't tell you the answer 6 + 6 is 12. I'd say, well, let's work it out. Let's put the 6 and so it does. It gives you prompts to help you think and help you come to an answer. And eventually it will provide you with the information. It's really better to use this particular AI tool when you're inside Khan Academy. And I know a lot of schools use it. So this is a tool that works great inside of Khan Academy, and it's lined up with what the schools are teaching. So that's huge. It's not random like ChatGPT or any of these other things. It's going along the lines of exactly what you're studying and even the textbook that you're using. And many of you have probably used it for SAT practice. The cons of Khan Academy, haha, I'm so funny. It costs. It's $4 a month or $44 for the year. However, remember, depending on what you were using it for, if it was aligned with your curriculum, it might be something worth investing. I was surprised because everything else on Khan Academy is free. So there is a cost associated with Conmigo. And if you want that quick, easy answer because you're tired and you want to go to bed, you're not going to get it. So in your workbook, I left a space for you to write one of the pros for Conmigo and one con. If you're following along and you'd like to do that now, this would be a great place for you to take that note. All right, I'm going to move on to the next tool that we're going to look at today. The one that even the people my age are using. So, in case you didn't know, the GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer, and that's a mouthful. It really is a chatbot that you can just keep talking back and forth with. Until now, they're letting oh, well, your things are done for today. You get about 4 things, and then it says that's all you get. Why would you want to use this one? Well, people all over the world need access to education and information. And if they have access to internet, it's 24/7. So if it is 12:30 in the morning and you really want to go to bed and you want to finish your assignment, it's available to you. We are going to look at their image companion tonight, and we're going to use it for practice. It's called Dolly, and we had that earlier in our Kahoot. The image component, this is my thing. Why would you take and create an image like we're going to do? Because your mind remembers a picture 80% better than it will words. So we're going to design a graphic on organic chemistry. And when you see it in a graphic form and you're preparing or trying to understand, it changes the way you learn. So it is a powerful tool, and we will practice that here in a few minutes. The pros, or how to use it, and you're learning as students, you've got to do a detailed prompt. If you just say, make an organic chemistry, you're not going to get good answers. And so that's a job for the future and now. Prompt engineer, being able to put details and specifics and being able to create your own persona. As an 11th grade student studying organic chemistry in the chemicals components chapter, right? And so the more details, the better graphic or the better answers you're going to get. Pros, obviously, we know it gives us quick answers, and it does help you with your homework. I'm sure that most schools have blocked ChatGPT, at least my students who are tutoring. If that is not true at your school, would you hop off mute and tell me, no, it is not blocked at my school? Crickets, that's what I thought. I just wanted to be sure, though. The cons, again, bias and inaccuracy. Once it has learned something that is not true, it continues to stay in that mode, and it's almost like a lie or a gossip that spreads like wildfire. And now you're believing or quoting or interacting with information that's not true. And the one that everyone is concerned about is over relying on it. And I know some people mentioned that earlier, and cheating. So those are the pros and cons for ChatGPT and Dolly. I'm going to check the chat. Beautiful. Thank you, Destiny. Great comment. Great information. You're right. It can help you if you prompt it correctly to work you through the problems, which is really important. So here's one of the graphics that I had it create. So students in algebra, solving and graphing inequalities. I set up my prompt and said, please, I'm an 11th grade student. And so it put together a really nice visual, but it has spelling errors and it has some other things that may not be ideal. But when you were studying a chapter, looking at all the words versus studying an image, I know for a fact the way your brain works, that's going to change how you learn. So we are going to practice figuring out your most difficult subject and how we might use it. The next one is going to probably surprise you and excite you. My student was taking AP Environmental Science. They call it the APES course, where you learn about the environment. You take a test at the end of the class to earn college credit. And she's a really good storyteller and a really good learner like that. So I said, well, Emma, let's try this. Let's have it create a story about these 2 types of Endangered Species Act and see if that will help you learn it and study for your test. So here's what it did. We typed in the prompt. There were 2 different acts for the test, endangered species and sites. So it made up a story and drew the images, and I'll just read it because I thought it was fabulous, and I bet you didn't even know it could do something like this. So the story: in the magical land of Wildtopia, animals lived happily until humans started taking too many animals for pets, trophies, and other things. 2 protectors rose up. Essa, Ellie the ranger, of course, this stands for endangered species. Ellie stayed inside Wildtopias. Her mission was to protect endangered animals in their homes. She built safe places, made rules, and helped animals grow strong again. If a creature was endangered, she gave it extra protection. Great image, helps us realize, okay, when I'm dealing with the Endangered Species Act, that's within our United States. This is within our homeland, and this is what they did. The other one, the CITES Act, became Cy the Traveler. Cy was a world traveler. His job was to stop animals and plants from being taken across country borders illegally. He set up trade rules so endangered species couldn't be bought and sold like souvenirs. And there's his image. So, oh, okay, well, for the CITES, if the question has to do with something globally, I know which of the two. What do you think of that? What do you think of that? Anybody think that's valuable or helpful? I'd love to get someone. How about you, Melanie? Would you like to tell me what your thoughts are on that?
I'm sorry, could you repeat?
I just was
The
curious.
feedback?
What do you think of something like that?
Yeah, I love the visuals. It brings it to life.
Yeah, I thought so too. And I'm glad. And I'm curious, if the students, we're going to actually make one of these here in a little bit. I'll be interested to see how my high school students use that for their most difficult subject. We're going to look at one more before we use one of the three, Conmigo, ChatGPT, DALL-E, or Google Gemini. And then we are going to do a little activity as you transition into your break. So the next one is Google Gemini. It's new, it's advanced. This is the icon that you would see when you're using Google Gemini. It has a lot of extra features within the Google Suite that can break it down into easy information. It can create videos, it can give real life examples. But the key on this one is it's a private and secure environment. ChatGPT can gather any information, any protocols, anything about you, and it saves the chat and reports it. But within both Conmigo and Google Gemini, it is a private and secure. And so that could be something that is an advantage to using this tool. In your notes, there are three things that typically students might use Google Gemini for. And so I ask you to look through your note-taking guide and highlight one of those that you think for an academic task you would use, whether it's getting deeper explanations with someone mentioned in the chat. Would you upload your notes or textbook pages? Would you use it for research? Summarize long documents. You can have up to 1,500 pages in there, and it will summarize that for you to help you learn different. So if you're using your notebook, go ahead and highlight one of those for academic tasks that you might use it for. It can do even better, I think, than DALL-E. It can give you can put this textbook in there, you can use an image, and you can even have it personalized to you. I love this. Can you explain this concept to me using basketball as an analogy? So that is a powerful tool because now you can really personalize the learning to what you're interested in, where it'll make more sense to you. For organization and productivity, well, you guys need that. You need time management, you need executive functioning skills. How do you manage all of the things? There are streamlining, turning your notes into audio overviews, creating a podcast style audio version of a lecture. What? Or personalize your study plan. If you're using your notebook, highlight one of those that you would like to come back at some point and explore. I'm fascinated by this podcast audio version. And the last thing that Google Gemini is really good for is what someone mentioned earlier in our chat, the visual and creative projects. It's getting better at generating images, getting those photos. You can upload your handwritten notes. If you're still taking handwritten notes, you can actually upload those. It's fascinating to folks who haven't had these tools. And then brainstorm out loud. If you've seen the commercial with Gemini Live, I believe that is a paid subscription. But you can just keep talking. Well, what if I was this? And how could I move forward? So choose one of those if you'd like, that you'd like to explore for that segment. this one blew my mind. You can actually have it create a video and then put things in it that will make you learn differently and learn better. So learn about blobfish, but have them beatbox for us. So a lot of fun things, a lot of great tools for you to use. And so what I want to do now is I want you to think about your most difficult class. And if you wouldn't mind, some high school student chat in what you're learning right now that is tricky or hard for you. And I'm going to show you how you would use DALL-E. And then we are going to practice that and transition to a break. Thank you, JJ. Calculus 2, Volumes of Revolution. Holy moly macaroni. Let's see what we can get on that. JJ's a genius. I love it. Oh, JD, I might have to defer to the travel article, but you know what? Let's see, because what we can come up with. All right, so we'll do that one. Thank you. So if we're going to use DALL-E, I hope I'm sharing the right screen. I'm on my chat GPT. Yeah. Here's where we would go. We would go over here to the left-hand side. And I'm hoping that you guys could do this as we go right now. And click on DALL-E. It's just part of the suite. And then I'm going to prompt it using the prompt that we had from the Cruise family. We've got both. Now, what grade? I'm going to have Honors English, grade 11, key images and concepts in a diagram. See, I have to add more details. That's that prompting. And so let's see what we get. First, it won't give it to us. This is part of what they're doing now. It's going to give us the ideas. And we would like it into a visual diagram. And it takes it a while to think on those. Oh, look, it's not giving it. See, sometimes you really got to play around with it. That's why I wanted to show you. Here's a clean diagram layout. It won't create it for us. See, that's the trick. Well, play around with this, everybody. Figure out how you can position and use this particular tool. I am going to go back to here because we do need a break. I've been talking, you've been sitting, even though we've done some activities, it's time for just to decompress. And when we get back, what we're going to do is we're going to look at your careers and we're going to do some different things along those lines. Welcome back, everybody. I have a little bit more information than we will cover in this last segment of time. So I will try to be very selective on what we work through and what we do, but I want to make sure I highlight the key points and give you a chance to think about your future career. So I may skip ahead if I need to, because I want to honor your time. And I know we have at this point about 30 minutes left. So I will stick to that and give us a chance to do both. Remember, you'll have access to this information in the future. They're recording it, and I believe that they will get a PDF of my slide deck. So I don't want to cut you short, but I also know it's been a long day for you. So here we go, future career piece. Well, there's definitely going to be some AI involved, but like we talked about earlier, as humans and as young people, you are going to need to develop some specific skills that maybe we might not have thought about in the past that will give you an advantage in your future career. So the very first thing is being able to be a good researcher and spot those hallucinations. So you've got to be a good question. Is it true? I don't think that's true. You know what? Let me look at a reputable site. Let me look at NASA. Let me look here. So being able to double check and really analyze on the information you're getting and cross-checking those reliable resources. And being a great prompt writer is going to help you and also be part of a career, make things better. The one thing that people continue to say is that AI is going to take all of our jobs. Well, the fact is, there are some skills and some things that it will do better than us. But the one thing it cannot do is be human. It cannot have the soft skills and emotional intelligence. So, this is your advantage. These are going to be the things that you're going to want to think through, but you have an activity to do about how you might develop them. So, what I'm talking about are things like, can you be adaptable? Can you be resilient? Those skills are really important in the world that you're living. Can I make a quick shift? Can I make a change? Can I think critically? Can I problem solve? And can I know how I'm feeling? Can I communicate? Can I do those things that only a human can do to support others in their work? So in your workbook, the truth is you're like, oh, that's really nice, Lori. Really nice. How am I going to do that? How am I going to do my adaptability? How am I going to develop some of these skills? It's nice for you to just tell us, but how am I going to do it? So I gave you a little sheet. And for those of you that don't have the workbook or not using it, I put down a little checklist and a place for you to take notes. So if you're not using it to develop your adaptability and resilience, take a look at a couple of those and choose one that you know you could do to help you grow stronger in this area. Same thing, critical thinking and problem solving. Use the scientific method, you guys. You've done it 100 times in science class. Critical thinking and problem solving. Take notes. Be an active learner. And use visual tools. So pick one of those that you think would be best beneficial to you. And the emotional intelligence and communication skills. Some of the parents may have been with me last month when we did some of this work, but many of you in high school have been through the growth mindset. I haven't done this yet. Learning to be self-aware and listen actively. So you have a chart, you have a place to take some notes, and if you're not using that, give yourself a chance to write a few things down before I move on. And Raquel, can I call you out and get your thought because you're studying this really good? What do you see on here that strikes you?
I'm thinking of areas that I need to grow. I'm not particularly strong in the growth mindset area. I tend to be like, this is what I'm good at, this is what I'm not good at, stay in my lane kind of thing. But even as a homeschool mom and just teacher of other kids, like we can all learn new skills, develop new things, change, grow, adapt in our relationships emotionally and in ourselves.
Thank you. So hopefully this was just a nice little way for you to frame it, something visual. And I did hop through the chat and I saw that some people were asking about DALL-E. And so when I close out, if you want to stick around, we can go back through step by step and we can go through it together because I don't want to forget that. And I'm making myself a note, so I don't want to leave you out. So this was one way for you to develop skills that there's no way AI can beat you at. And that was important to me because I'm worried about all of us. Here are some of those career paths. Take a look. I've got some really good slides coming up where you can really start to think about if I'm going to go to college or flight school. Data science, of course, you knew that. Cybersecurity. FinTech. I had never heard of this, you guys. That's financial technology. Think Bitcoin. Think all of those kinds of things that are coming in the financial world. UX design is designing things to look wonderful. That's a big career. Sustainability. Obviously, our climate and our world has some different challenges with it. Supply chain and robotics. So that's a good visual for you to start thinking. We're going to dig into some really crazy careers here in a minute. I'm going to have you choose one to research. But for now, I want to give you the overview. So possible career paths for you, high schoolers. Skilled trades. Everybody said, well, the robot can't do this. Well, here are the things that are going to be important. Over here on the left, in 2030, which is 1 minute away, really, tech and digital innovation, health and wellness. We need a nurse. You need mental health. You need healthcare technicians. That's going to be an option and an important one. Skilled trades, electricians, plumbers, wind and solar. That's going to be important. And they say education and training. I don't know about that. We'll see. But I found this statistic for you guys, 700,000 tradespeople are going to retire by 2030. And so, yes, a robot can build a house, a robot can do those, and it is. We see them working in the Amazon factories and everywhere else. But the fact is, there still needs to be a human to troubleshoot and to guide and to be there in person. And these are great careers and great options as well. So I wanted you to keep those in your mind because they are viable. And here are those. I'm going to go through 3 slides of jobs I couldn't even believe. And it's true when you stop and think about it. So I'm going to ask you to end up selecting one and do a little quick research on it to see what classes should you take in high school to explore this type of career, be positioned for this type of career. So there's going to be 3 slides, fascinating job topics. So the first one, climate change reversal specialist. We obviously need people who have the scientific background to hopefully rewind some of the things we've done. Quarantine enforcer. When a deadly virus spreads rapidly, quarantine enforcers will guard the gates. We saw that pretty strong. It won't be the last one. All right. Second slide, body part maker. Create living body parts for athletes and soldiers. Nanomedic, nanotechnology advances means subatomic treatments could transform. There are so many rapid advancements in healthcare and that nanotechnology and modifying things. GM or recombinant farmer. GM is genetically modified, which there is a lot of stuff that goes along with that. Is it real food? Are we poisoning it, etc.? But it will be a part of our future. And so will crops and livestock. I'm not putting any judgment, I'm just putting information. Elderly wellness consultant. My God, with all the advancements, you guys, that we have in healthcare, people are going to live to be 100. And so all of those people, I hope I don't, but all of those people are going to need people to help them and to support them and to mental health. So elderly wellness consultant. So far, before we get to the last slide, we've looked at climate change reversal specialist, quarantine enforcer, body part maker, nanomedic, GM or recombinant farmer, elderly wellness consultant. If any of those sound good, jot them down. And here's our last one, memory augmentation surgeon. We know a lot of people, as they age, are losing their memory. And so a surgeon, based on all of these things, could potentially be able to go in and boost a patient's memory. An ethicist, with the rise of cloning, ethicists are going to be the ones who will have to help us decide, hey, is this right? Should we go? And if we, right. So this is for the one gal who put in pilots. She wanted to go to flight school. So space pilots, tour guides, and architects, and vertical farmers. Obviously, there are many places in Asia and other places where their land is not available, that they are actually growing crops straight up. So those are your choices. And if you want to go into AI, obviously you would need to get a degree, and algebra you would finally use moving forward. So here's what I'd like you to do. Choose one of those jobs and find out what classes in school or college should you take to become that job. You could use it in Google, you could use ChatGPT, you could use Gemini, and take a look. Chat in which job you thought might be interesting. I'm fascinated to see what you found out. Body part creator, vertical farming. Thank you guys. This is fascinating, isn't it? All right. Well, I feel like you at least have a sense of memory booster, Karuchi. You have a sense of some different things you may had not considered, and I want you to be thinking about next steps in high school when you position your classes, but also in college and maybe in technical skills. I work for a company. As I mentioned, I am the director of admissions and scholar support. So going to college or looking through college is a full-time job, and trying to figure out all the little rules and regulations. If you figured out some of the things you want to do, we have free classes for free webinars for parents and for students to explore more. And I want to be able to just show you where they are, because once you have some ideas, this could come in really handy. And what's really cool, you guys, is I was lucky enough to get the company to agree to raffle off 2 free master classes. So the winner of our Kahoot tonight is going to get a gift certificate for a free master class. And a random person is also going to get a gift certificate tonight. So our website, we'll put the link in the chat for you, but there are some really great resources and free events. So maybe you don't want to hire a private college counselor and have them walk you through all of the things that the folks talked about earlier. But if you look on our free events, we have great webinars where we dig into specific topics, planning for the specific college. You obviously won't be in person, but our headquarters are based in Austin, Texas. Conversations with a consultant. If you're a junior, what should you be doing now to get to the next step? College Planning 101, Leadership Project, etc. So there's some really nice free events that are available for those of you, parents and students, that you want to learn a little bit more and you want a little bit more specific guidance, because it's a lot. And the sooner, the better, because we have a lot of kids that wait till the end, and it's too late to capitalize on the scholarships and the opportunities. But the member events, one of those I really hope that my scholarship winners or my gift certificate winners will consider is how to make the most of college visits as parents. But this one by Julie, she's phenomenal. It's your high school path, and she just takes you through. These are the things you should be doing, and this is how you should be doing it. So the 2 raffle winners could attend that particular class if you were interested. So you will get the certificate. You'll need to email me so I can tell the company, hey, this person is coming and this is why they're coming, and they'll be delighted to have you. So it's a heavy lift, and I wanted to make sure that you knew that I wanted to help you in other ways as well. And there's what it will look like. You'll just email me specifically. And this is the biggest part of the presentation today. We've got about 15 minutes, and this is really powerful and really important. So if you can readjust and maybe look through some things so that you can focus, I think this part you will find most valuable. And I'm just going to look. Thank you, Kelly Croster. We appreciate it when we can do a random donation. Appreciate it. So let's get into it. Potential concerns and responsible use. We kind of touched on some things along the way as we went. I know you have concerns. They say young people don't think about stuff like this. I know you do. And there are many ways to look at this. For folks my generation, my age, we've seen movies and we know they take over everything and kill us all. That's all we think about, or at least I could speak for my generation. As a young person, I hope that you can see there are going to be some challenges, and I want to help you think through how can you mitigate potential risk. Here's a number that I thought you would find very interesting. 3 sets of numbers: 7.5 hours, 83.3%, and 47%. If AI is going to take us over, this is how it's going to do it. In the attention economy we live in, you guys, people use media 7.5 hours or more per day. It's 1/3 of the day. You're in bed for 8 hours, you're at work for 8 hours, and the rest of the entire day is on media. It is everything we click on, we're being positioned and we're being manipulated and we're being pushed around and really what I call diminished. We're not even able to think about what we're doing because we are caught up in the addictive cycle that they get us in. And the one tool that you can hold on to or use or explore is mindfulness. If you can get centered, if you can practice breathing, if you can step out in nature, that kind of breaks that cycle a little bit and allows your brain, the one that you're missing, to come back. I was shocked, but not shocked when I saw that. A study out of Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, one of the leading research facilities, actually did a study. And it doesn't, a ChatGPT doesn't just affect the way you get your assignments done fast. It actually is showing that it changes your brain completely, your actual brain. So 83.3% of people who use ChatGPT, 83% could not remember a sentence that they had used. And of course, users who wrote without AI could remember whatever they wrote because they wrote it. Brain scans they did, you guys, showed something even more powerful. So people were using ChatGPT, they did brain scans. Other people that weren't, they did. So a 47% reduction in neural engagement. That's a 50%. Like the brain would work 50% less while you're using AI. And what's scary is even after stopping, the brain did not rebound. So we are getting dumber. We may be using AI to learn, but some of the studies are finding that that's actually not true. There are some really big concerns in areas that you may not have thought about, especially if you're a young person. It definitely is concerning. And I'm going to show you an image that I think for me would help me think about how am I going to use AI strategically because I want to not lose my brain. So this is the graphic images of what they found when they scanned the two brains. Be real easy for AI to take us over. If this is all we've got because we're just using these tools and not thinking, and even after we're done, our brain is not coming back. This is going to be an important part. So I thought that graphic was important, especially for my young people, but for everybody, right? Think about what you're doing. Why are you doing it? 7.5 hours a day. What are we thinking? Let's stop, pause, and make a plan rather than just kind of blindly marching in. So it does become, how are you going to be strategic? We are going to write down a couple of ideas here when we get ready to close out. How are you going to move forward? So it isn't avoid it, right? Don't be scared. Don't be, oh, they're going to kill us all. But really think about this information tonight and like, how can I use it strategically so that I don't become a person that doesn't have a brain that's working any longer? So what I'd like you to do before we analyze our goals and close out tonight is I'd really like you to list 3 different things tonight of what we covered. And if you have your workbook, it's there. So write down one step from tonight that you will use AI in your education. One that you'll use to prepare for your career. And most importantly, one step you will use to not become brain dead. So jot down a few notes. And JJ, since I cheated you out of the calculus too, will you tell me one step you're going to take to not use it passively, please?
One step that I will take to not passively use AI will most likely be just being aware that I'm talking to a robot. Like that's probably a very good first step, and that I'm not actually talking to a human, and then just keeping it in the back of my mind that I'm always gonna have to double check everything, like as if I had gotten it just from a unreliable website, pretty much.
Awesome. Really, I appreciate that. Thank you. Destiny, I think you and D'Angelo, I believe, were kind of interacting. Would you guys tell me one thing that you are going to take away from this?
Yes. Well, for one, we really liked the sorry, I wrote it down in somewhere in my notes. But the Conigo, like the tutoring, I really, 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 really love that. And being a mom, that's like a mom's best friend. Cause I mean, I'm gonna need that for my kiddos. And then I love how it doesn't like just tell them the answer. Also my son said that well, he feels like AI is cheating. So he said that he's gonna try to look and see in what ways that he is reliant on AI without even knowing. And then I guess we're all just gonna try to come up with the plan to where we don't rely on it so much, myself included. Now I know what my next essay is going to be because I'm in school as well. It's going to be about this. So thank you.
Love it. Love it. Good. Well, I'm happy to hear that. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
so, yeah, thank you. So let's go back. Before we close out, I want to take a look at your goals. We started out in one place. You rated yourself. If I did a good job tonight, your numbers will have improved. So let's take a look. We wanted to describe AI and how it works. If you have the react button, give me a thumbs up if you were able to progress. Are you a 4, 3, 2, or 1 now? Thank you, Savannah. Thank you, Aisha. Some people don't know where the react button is. Good, awesome. How about the next one? Can you now identify 3 tools that can be used in education? Hopefully you improve. Good, everybody's giving me the thumbs up. I love that. How about these potential careers? Were you able to consider or think about careers that were aligned with the future? Awesome. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. And then can you understand some of the potential risks and hazards of AI? I hope everyone got that. That image would be enough to blow that one out of the water. What's most important to me tonight, guys, is this one. When you set a goal for our session tonight, were you able to make progress on meeting your goal? Beautiful. Well, that was my goal, to make sure that whatever it was you needed, I could try to give you the support